If you're watching this on day of upload, of course, then the current date should be February 17th, which means that tomorrow, Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 finally releases. This is a game that I have a very complicated history with, and you can definitely see that when just taking a brief look at my channel. While Chapters 1 and 2 were kind of so-so whatever for me, Chapter 3 I genuinely think was a masterpiece. It was just this really fun, cohesive horror experience that shakes up the typical format of the other chapters. I loved it a lot, other people did too, and I made a whole video on it, which you should go watch right here in the iCard, I guess. I don't know how it still exists. I really thought this feature would die out a long time ago, but I was just watching a video the other day and saw it pop up again. I honestly forgot I could do this. Do you guys even... I don't know how people would feel about these. I really would love to go back to those like clickable squares we had in like the early 2000s. Do you guys remember those? Am I too old? I probably. But speaking of crippling disappointment, Chapter 4 unfortunately ended up being the most mid-horror experience I've ever had in my life. I didn't end up making a full video essay on it because I just didn't care enough. I fully planned on doing it. I even had an opening bit planned. But if you want a quick recap of my thoughts, here they are. Oh, also, before I get into this, they are doing construction on the house next to us, so you might be hearing some weird noises. I just got over being sick and was ready to record this, and then they started doing that, and they're going to be doing that for the next couple weeks, so that's unfortunate. But anyway, here we go. Chapter 4 is the clearest example of the incredibly stupid release broken fix later strategy to releasing games in recent years. The game was riddled with bugs, graphical glitches, and unclear, unsatisfying solutions. It was released exactly 1 year after Chapter 3, which just shows how rushed it was in order to release at a clean time. The game would introduce countless characters with their own musical themes and lore and fleshed out traits with actually solid designs that serve only to sell merch and then get killed off in favor of an admittedly less interesting antagonist. No, I'm still not over Pianosaurus getting killed after only 15 seconds of screen time. Whatever. Overall, the whole experience felt rushed and confusing, and like they didn't have a clear idea going in, and even now that they've added features and fixes that really should have been in the base game from the start, playing through it is just really not very fun. Time! Taking all of that into consideration, I'm definitely hesitant about this next and hopefully final mainline entry. And you know, let's actually start there with my thoughts. I think that Chapter 5 should genuinely just be the last one in this game. I know there's going to be a million spin-offs, like freaking Call of Huggy or something stupid like a Fortnite. Oh, wait. And I know that this is also a complicated subject because a lot of people think that this chapter should not be the last one. They should go to 6. I think people have ended it at 6 and they don't want to go beyond. I personally don't think that. But in this chapter, we're fighting the prototype, the big bad of the whole entire game. This character who has caused everything bad to happen at this factory. The guy whose face has been intentionally hidden for 5 years now. This is the final showdown. This is it. Already, combining all 4 chapters, it's something like a 14-hour game. And this chapter appears to be bigger than the others, so let's say ballpark like at least 20 hours when 5 is added to the collection. That should be the limit. The story has no satisfying direction out of this, so it really just needs to shut up and have its final hour here. Of course, like I said, it's going to have spin-offs. I even saw someone say they're definitely going to do something like Poppy Playtime Origins, kind of like FNAF going into Security Breach or whatever. And I agree. I think that would make sense. I can't really be mad at that because I like FNAF, and it would be very hypocritical of me if I didn't like this direction. But whatever. Just, they need to end it at 5 for the base game. But in terms of what I'm expecting to actually see happen in the game, you can imagine I don't have the most optimistic outlook. Regardless, I'm expecting a lot of marketable characters being shafted for screen time just like last time. We've already seen from the trailers that, well, not as many as Chapter 4, a few new faces. These being the Inside Animals, Giblet, and Lily Lovebraids. Oh, and some like fuzzy red guy that hasn't really been revealed yet. He just showed up, like his arm has showed up or something. I don't know. It's like a trio with Huggy and Kissy. I'm not really sure what his point is. The former of those new faces, however, probably is just going to be another swarm type enemy like the nightmare critters or the smiling whatever. Essentially, it's in that group for me, but I don't know. Who knows? I do think that with the lower number of new characters, we could definitely see a change up from the poor pacing last chapter. However, there are still quite a few returning characters, including the prototype, Huggy, Kissy, and Poppy, so who can really say? Seeing as this chapter, similar to last time, released only a year and 2 weeks after the last one, which does not leave me confident, as this shows maybe Mob Entertainment isn't the best at learning lessons. Based on some of the shots from the gameplay trailer, we can see these weird machines that put the player in a flashback state of them on a stretcher being rolled by other employees. I believe that this shows that this chapter will be huge for the lore. This does give me some hope for it being the final hurrah, and I think they have to go all out with the story reveals this time. Especially since this is the one with the prototype. He's kind of like the most important character, aside from Poppy, in this whole thing. So, not only do I expect them to go this angle, but I do think it is the best way to wrap it all up. But, weirdly enough, I'm actually kind of excited for this chapter, but I feel like with how consistently solid their marketing has been, as well as being 99% sure this is the finale of a story I've been invested in for 5 years, that's to be expected. Even if I have to keep yelling at myself, it's gonna be bad, 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 it's not good, it's not good, it's gonna be bad, like I'm exercising the cringe mascot horror demon for my body, or shouting at the Freddy Green Goblin mask that wants to keep making poor financial decisions. In the end, I think just like last time, Chapter 5 of Poppy Playtime has a lot of potential. Will it be able to live up to it? Probably not. But hey, stranger things have happened. I mean, there's been legit drama over Lily's design being out of place, but I just don't care. She looks fine. She's definitely in the uncanny valley, which is way better than most mascot horror, which tend to have designs that are either way too far on one side of the spectrum, being too cute to ever be scary in any possible situation, or they're on the other side, where they're too unnaturally terrifying to ever be believed as a real in-universe mascot meant to be appealing to children. Regardless, I'm hoping it's great, but I could still make a very interesting video if it was genuinely insufferable. Just like last time, I'll be recording my first playthrough with Squidplay, a dear friend and lover of bad horror, and I gotta say, I think this chapter might, just might, actually be good. Maybe even fantastic. Don't you think, Squidplay?
No.